And we are live. Hi, everyone. It's me, Grant, the movie and TV guy. Welcome to a very special edition of Weekend Popcorn. We're going to do these kinds of episodes more often than we are regular episodes because I honestly think that the out of the theater quick reviews are really working. But why are we doing this special stream tonight? Well, because it is roughly the midway point of 2025. Yeah, officially. And so that means we have to cover the movies that I've seen that are really good and that are really, really bad. That's right. Today is the best and worst films so far in 2025. We're going to talk about them. Tonight, we are going to praise the great and roast the not so great. And we may have guests. I don't know if they're coming or not. It may just be me. Just putting it out there. It might just be my silly mug you see tonight. It might be some other silly mugs you see tonight. But overall, let's do this. Before I go to Alabama, I want to put out this list before it becomes this kind of statute of limitations in a way. Um, ends. I just want to kind of put it out there. So let's begin. We might as well just jump right into it. Hello everyone. And for those who are watching, when people are watching, if you wish, you can also put your picks. Put your picks down below in the chat, and we'll put it on the screen here live. The best, the worst, and everything in between. So yeah, this is the best films so far this year, and the worst films so far this year. And we are going to begin, like any good list, we are going to begin with honorable mentions. These are the films that I loved that just missed making my top 30. I'm going to do a top 30 for the best and a top 20 for the worst. And that's basically what we're going to do. We're going to cover 50 films tonight, which is a lot, but we'll take care of it. So, in no particular order, those honorable mentions are The Last Showgirl, Drop, Hurry Up Tomorrow, Paddington in Peru, The Wedding Banquet, Pee-wee as Himself, Jane Austen Wrecked My Life, Predator, Killer of Killers, K-Pop Demon Hunters, The Phoenician Scheme, On Swift Horses, The Monkey, Good, Bad, Ugly, Final Destination Bloodlines, Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning, Bring Them Down, Clown in a Cornfield, Novocaine, HIT The Third Case, F1, From the World of John Wick, Ballerina, The Surfer, Mountainhead, The Rule of Jenny Penn, Ash, Baby Invasion, Hard Eyes, Bridget Jones' Mad About the Boy, Ladies and Gentlemen, 50 Years of SNL Music, Sly Lives, aka The Burden of Black Genius, Not Just a Goof, Summer of '69, One of Them Days, Becoming Led Zeppelin, Good Night and Good Luck on Broadway, The Amateur, Love Me, Brave the Dark, Game Changer, and Dan to Dan Evil Eye. So those are my honorable mentions for the best films of 2025 so far. And let's just jump right in now to the top 30 best films of 2025. Let's get this guy. Gonna change the banner here. Pardon me. Un momento, por favor. We are going to. There we go. All right. We will begin now with. And for this period, we're going to open up the chat. The actual chat. Okay. We begin with number 30. Number 30. Yes, we're going to do top 30. And number 30 is 1-to-1, John and Yoko. This is a documentary, a music-themed documentary. It is directed by Kevin McDonald. who is a noted documentary filmmaker, also did the Whitney Houston documentary Whitney as well. And this is essentially, and it's also directed by Sam Rice Edwards. And this is basically a documentary that is sort of a portrait of New York, Greenwich Village in the early 1970s from the perspective of John Lennon and Yoko Ono's time there in their relationship. And it's a love story filtered through the music and the culture politically of that period. It's a terrific documentary, really well done, be well edited. They make a point to sort of note that John and Yoko were big TV watchers, and so there's a lot of TV from that time. There's no narration other than archival recordings of John, Yoko, and others. But there's sort of, they cut it together in like a collage sort of way of like television they watched at the time, different things of, news footage, all that stuff, within like a format of the channels are changing, which I thought was really unique. Really powerful stuff, and it actually makes you sympathize with Yoko Ono in a way that I don't think any other documentary on the subject has quite successfully done as well as this film has. And for those who think, well, after all of Peter Jackson's contributions, do we really need to see another Beatles or Beatles adjacent movie? Yes, a movie and or documentary. Yes, you do. And it's 1-to-1 John and Yoko. It's my number 30. Best film so far in 2025. All right. Next film, number 29, is one that probably won't be on a lot of people's lists, but I'm not a lot of people. Nonas. This is a delightful, delightful family comedy. It is directed by Stephen Chbosky, who previously gave us Dear Evan Hansen, The Perks of Being a Wallflower, and Wonder. And this is just an example of, okay, yes. Have you seen movies like this before? Yes. Have you seen ones with the truth of human experience that this movie has? Not so often. It's very rare. And when you do, you kind of want to just hug it. You just want to hold it close and just... Nonas is that kind of movie. The entire cast is terrific. Vince Vaughn, it's one of his best performances. Linda Cardellini, Drea De Matteo, Joe Manganiello, and then, of course, the Nonas themselves, Susan Sarandon, Brenda Vaccaro, Talia Shire, all terrific. I feel like I'm forgetting somebody. I don't want to forget anybody in this amazing cast. Let me just look that up here. Yeah, Brenda Vaccaro. Oh, Lorraine Bracco. That's the other. Okay. Yeah, Lorraine Bracco. So, yeah, great cast. Just a really sweet movie. Perfect to watch, and perfect to watch with your mama or your Nona. It's my number 29, Nonas, directed by Stephen Chbosky. It is on Netflix now, so go check it out. It's really good. All right. And it's fun, and it's family-friendly. It's rated PG, so go check it out. Number 28, speaking of Netflix, is a film that I think flew under a lot of people's radars. It is an animated film. It's one of a few animated films on this list. And it's a film that is also a foreign animation. Also one of a couple on here that's a foreign animation. From our friends from South Korea is the lovely animation film, my number 28 of the best films so far in 2025, Lost in Starlight. This is a wonderful animated film that a lot of people probably have missed. It's directed by Han Ji-won, and it's terrific. It's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful space love story, but kind of not, too, at the same time. Let me explain. Basically, it's a romance film. It is a South Korean. It's PG. It's relatively family-friendly, but the themes are a little more adult animation leaning. It is a love story about a couple who meet right before the woman in the relationship is about to go up into space for God knows how long, and she's sort of wrestling with the trauma of her mother, who was also an astronaut who had died tragically, and you sort of see how this relationship forms. And yes, if it sounds like, oh yeah, love, the space between us is infinite, that kind of thing. Yes, it is, but you have to give it to a movie that earns that level of sentimentality, and this movie does. I found myself crying pretty early on in this movie, and I was really moved by it. It is on Netflix. It is in the original Korean language dub, but it is also in an English dub. I saw the English dub, and the English dub is terrific. They did a really good job casting it. It's not, it's not as bad as it's up there with the better Netflix dubs of their foreign films. But yeah, Lost in Starlight, terrific. How any way you watch it, go check it out. Beautifully animated, just stunning to look at, and with a lovely story at its core. It's my number 28, Lost in Starlight. Speaking of family movies, number 27 is one of the more unusual family movies to come around in a long time, and that is for the best. The Legend of Ochi is my number 27. This is the rare family film from A24. It is directed by Isaiah Saxon. This movie is wonderful. It is essentially this Amblin-esque kind of story about a little girl, and she is being raised by her father, Willem Dafoe, in this sort of Romanian-esque sort of village, and where they are meant to hunt these little creatures called Ochis, these strange mythological creatures, who are all played by Jim Henson-esque puppets, and they look great. It looks like, and that's one of the things I loved about this movie. It looks like a Jim Henson movie from the 80s when he was in his slightly darker period, something like Labyrinth or The Dark Crystal. It has that same vibe. There's a real, and a little bit of Where the Wild Things Are too, which is one of my favorite films. In that it sort of takes on this idea of, it's a movie about strained parent-child relationships with a little creature sort of being flung into the mix. And it's also about war. It's about war. It's about prejudice. It's about toxic masculinity in a strange way, legitimately, not just in a buzzwordy kind of way. This is a lovely movie. I really enjoyed it very much, and the puppetry is amazing. I got to give a hand to Isaiah Saxon. With a very low budget, he made a pretty magical movie for the whole family. My number 27, The Legend of Ochi. Terrific. Number 26 is a Marvel film, and that would be Thunderbolts, Asterix. That is my number 26. Directed by Jake Schreier. And I never thought I would say this about a Marvel movie, even though I genuinely love the Marvel universe and I'm a Marvel fan. This movie's deep. This movie is a movie about suicidal ideation and about trauma and about sort of overcoming trauma and your own personal demons, wrapped inside of a super anti-hero movie where a bunch of misfit sort of second-tier Marvel characters team up under the guise of scenery chomping Julia Louis-Dreyfus, who's having a ball. This is a wonderful movie. This is a really exciting, really small scale but big scale at the same time in really cool ways. There's a lot of great intimate moments. They actually take time and give a shit to develop these characters who have not gotten a lot of that time in movies before. Bucky, especially, this is very much a Yelena, almost could argue as a Yelena spin-off movie. And Florence Pugh is absolutely fantastic, as is David Harbour, who's having a ball once again as Red Guardian. This is a really fun popcorn movie, a perfect summer action adventure movie. Number 26, Thunderbolts, Asterisk, aka, well, I won't say what it is because it's a spoiler and I'm not Disney. I don't feel the need to spoil things 2 days after they come out. So you probably already know what it is, but I'm not going to be the one to tell you if you haven't. Number 26, Thunderbolts. Number 25 is a movie that nobody saw, and it breaks my heart. My Dead Friend Zoe. This is a really, really powerful and yet really funny dramedy about, loosely based on the filmmaker's actual experience. That filmmaker is Kyle Hausman Stokes. And this is sort of about PTSD, but it's wrapped up in this sort of magical realist dark comedy about a soldier trying to sort of pick up the pieces after surviving a war that her friend named Zoe did not, and she appears to her as a ghost and kind of helps lead her along and is sort of both the angel and the devil on her shoulder, and is very sardonic and kind of, very, very, very flippant about her situation. Natalie Morales is terrific as the titular Zoe. She's really good. She's really fun. I think that Ed Harris has not been this great in a long time. He's terrific as her grandfather, who she sort of reconnects with. He also is going through trauma of his own. Morgan Freeman has a good little role here too. But Sonequa Martin Green, I hope I'm saying the name correctly, phenomenal lead performance in this film. So yeah, My Dead Friend Zoe, wonderful little gem. If you haven't seen it, go find it. It's really, really good. It's my number 25. Speaking of movies nobody saw, and a movie that is sort of a bunch of little movies all in one, and is my response to people's criticism that the lead in Ironheart is bad in general as an actor, is this movie. Number 24, Freaky Tales. Freaky Tales. A movie that was so good I saw it twice in the span of 4 days because it literally was at my theater for a week. And both times I saw it, there was maybe one other person in the theater with me, outside of me and a friend, because I went with a friend both times. Freaky Tales is an anthology-esque, Tarantino-esque hybrid of just about every movie you can imagine kind of in one. It is directed by, of all people, Anna Boden and Ryan Fleck, who previously did things like Sugar and Half Nelson and Captain Marvel. And this is sort of a merging of their indie stylings with their more ambitious, popcorny stylings. A bunch of little stories put together. There's sort of a Warriors element about these sort of punk kids. It's set in 1987 in Oakland, California. And it's basically a bunch of tales. Some of them featuring real-life figures in that community. They involve a bunch of sort of punk kids taking on a bunch of, skinheads that have moved into their area and are trying to steal their spot. One of whom is played by Jack Campion of, Scream 6 and Avatar 2. We also have a story about sort of an assassin who's trying to clean up his act, but then when tragedy strikes, he has nothing to lose until he has something to lose, if you will, and gets into an argument with a video store clerk played in a cameo by, I would not dare spoil, but the assassin himself is played by Pedro Pascal. He works, however, leading to another thread, he works for a villain who's also a corrupt cop, and the father of the lead skinhead, and he is played by Ben Mendelsohn. And he faces the wrath of real-life basketball superstar from Oakland, Sleepy Floyd, played by Jay Ellis. And then in another thread, Dominique Thorne and her best friend try to be the new queens of hip-hop in Oakland and end up in a rap battle with a real-life Oakland rapper named Too Short. And all of these stories are linked by this sort of green lightning in the sky that sort of becomes a motif in each story. And they all sort of collide. And also this strange organization seemingly run by Sleepy Floyd that is teaching a mix of like yoga and telekinesis. This movie's nuts. And in case you haven't noticed by me describing it, this movie is almost made in a lab to be a cult movie. And I mean that as a positive. I mean the cult movie in the way that, like, this cool movie that you would show to people in a college dorm room. That's Freaky Tales. And I think this movie, I knew for a fact, even before it didn't even chart at the box office, I said, this movie's going to bomb at the box office, but when it comes out on home video, people are going to start sharing it with people. It's going to be one of those movies. I really hope it is. I certainly loved it. I've shared it with people now. I love it. My number 24, Freaky Tales by Anna Boden and Ryan Fleck. Really good, hidden gem. Go look for it. Really good. Speaking of movies that did make a lot of money at the box office, unexpectedly, number 23, and it's also an animation, number 23. In this era where Trump, who's an idiot, is threatening to tariff foreign films, leave it to our friends in China to basically make the most successful movie of the year all over the world, including in the US, and the highest grossing animated film of all time. You know where I'm going with this. Number 23, Ni Zhao 2. Oh my god, this movie. Damn. This movie came out in the middle of February, I think. It is a Chinese language, 2.5 hour, 3D, computer animated, adult and kid, kind of at the same time, animation, CG animation, mythological action comedy, potty humor mixed with deep emotional traumas movie. It's kind of everything in the kitchen sink in a weird way. It's a weird that it's next to Freaky Tales because it has a weird similarity in the sense that it's kind of an everything in the kitchen sink movie. And much like Freaky Tales, once it's over, in the case of Ni Zhao 2, you're exhausted in the best way. I saw this movie in 3D. I have not seen a 3D movie that is that good ever, and that includes Avatar. The 3D in that movie, if you were able to see this movie in 3D, you saw it in the ideal fashion. This movie is awesome. The action scenes are incredible. The animation is incredible. The voiceover work, because it is Chinese with subtitles. It is Mandarin with subtitles. I don't think there is an English dub that exists, and I kind of hope that there isn't when it comes out on home video, because I don't think it needs to be dubbed. The voice acting from the voice actors are horrific. And it's action, and it's humor, and it's great characters. And then in the last sort of hour of the film, it's a really powerful drama about, coming into your power and not letting grief overpower you and learning to be more than you are. And I still have not seen the first film. I plan to eventually, but for now, as a standalone effort, I could follow it pretty well. As a standalone effort, Ni Zhao 2 is a modern animation classic, if you ask me. I absolutely adored this film. And it's my number 23. The fact that it's only number 23 is kind of shows how good this year has already been, to be honest. Number 23, Ni Zhao 2. Number 22, speaking of animation, and speaking of movies that didn't have a shot in theaters, not in this case because of the movie's fault, it's all through the fault of greed and corporate idiots. And believe it or not, it is a spin-off of a television show based on classic TV characters. I think classic TV and theatrical characters. I think you know where I'm going with this. Number 22, The Day the Earth Blew Up, a Looney Tunes movie. Merrily we roll along. The Day the Earth Blew Up, a Looney Tunes movie, is my number 22. This movie is wonderful. It's hilarious. It is a classic Looney Tunes story. This time with the main focus being Daffy Duck and Porky Pig. In fact, they really are the main characters here. And it's a return to form for this franchise. It's funny. It's fast. It is like a scattergun full of gags that you cannot catch it the first time. I caught more the second time. I saw it twice in the theaters. It's just a wonderful movie. It's hilarious from beginning to end. Has some of the funniest gags in Looney Tunes history. The story has a lot of heart as well. There's the great meta humor that you expect from the Looney Tunes. And it's just a wonderful movie that Warner Brothers didn't deserve, and they let go of it. And by Warner Brothers, I mean, of course, David Zaslav. Fuck you, David Zaslav. How dare you do this to this wonderful movie? Thank God for Ketchup Entertainment. You don't see Mustard Entertainment doing that. They're also going to be releasing Coyote vs. Acme because David Zaslav's a fucking idiot. Anyway, The Day the Earth Blew Up, a Looney Tunes movie, directed by Peter Braungart, cheers to you. Also, I should have mentioned, Ni Zhao 2 is directed by Yang Yu. I apologize for not giving you the proper credit. But yeah, Looney Tunes, Day the Earth Blew Up, a Looney Tunes movie, just wonderful. And Farmer Jim. Best character of 2025. Farmer freaking Jim. It's my number 22. Number 21. Speaking of Warner Brothers and movies they actually did release this year that were awesome. What do you get when you cross one of the most brilliant directors of world cinema in a rare English language directed film with carte blanche and a monster budget to do whatever the hell he wants? And you have the benefit of a terrific cast and multiple Robert Pattinsons. You get my number 21. A movie that was almost guaranteed to not make its money back at the box office, but be beloved by this person. This guy. 21. Mickey 17. Mickey 17 is just great. I've also seen this movie twice in the theaters. This movie is a brilliant sci-fi satire, big budget, weird sci-fi satire in the way that only the director, that being Bong Joon-ho, could possibly make it. This is very much him in the Okja and Snowpiercer lane. If that is not your taste in Bong Joon-ho movies, you're not going to like this as much as I did. I think this movie's brilliant in its takedown of class, its takedown of the very idea of eat the rich or they will literally eat us. Like, they'll make us into sauce in this case. The performances are really great. The humor is really great. They really have fun exploring the possibilities of cloning and what that can be for dark humor and for sort of incendiary, boundary-pushing material. Can you say clone threesome? Anyone? Really, really fun. Really, really funny. And really, really thoughtful in the way it deals with the ethics of this whole thing. And Robert Pattinson has sort of begun a recent trend of dark slapstick, in a weird way, style of acting that I really like. He has good comic timing, surprisingly. And he's terrific in both of his roles here. Has both very different versions of Mickey Barnes. And yeah, really, really great here. My number 21, Bong Joon-ho's Mickey 17. Number 20. Number 20. What do you get when you get a spy movie that, despite the trailers, is not about action, but about dialogue? Really fucking good dialogue. You get the first of two movies by a very, very beloved director on this list. The other one is coming a little higher on this list. That would be my number 20, Black Bag. This is directed by Steven Soderbergh. This is a spy caper starring Cate Blanchett and Michael Fassbender, as well as Pierce Brosnan, Naomi Harris, Regé-Jean Page, Marissa Abella, who thank God she found this movie after she was kind of the only bright spot in that Amy Winehouse biopic abomination from last year. Now she's back on form, really having a ball. This is just a really, 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 really smart movie. It's funny. It's clever. It's directed by Steven Soderbergh, who, again, you will see his name pop up again later on this list, relatively. He is one of my favorite filmmakers, and I really geek out over his ability to experiment. Steven Soderbergh is one of those guys who never can just rest on his laurels. He never makes the same movie twice. And because of that, you get movies like this, and you get movies like the movie coming up on this list that are, and both of whom are also written by David Koepp, weirdly enough, where they are night and day. They're totally different movies, totally different genres, but you can kind of feel that they are distinctively Soderbergh. There's just something about the way he makes his movies, the sort of lo-fi style he does, that I just really love. And Black Bag is just smart adult entertainment. It's intelligent and acidic and nasty when it needs to, and it's terrific. I loved it. It's my number 20, Black Bag. Number 19. Speaking of Warner Brothers again, this movie came out very early in the year. Very early in the year. It's one of the first movies I saw in 2025, or close to one of the first. I saw it for Screen Unseen. It was a packed audience, and then I saw it again later on. It's a romantic comedy with a horror twist, horror comedy twist, and that would be Companion. That's my number 19. Yeah, this is a delightful genre mashup, full of twists and turns, that is clever enough to sort of not, again, rest on its own laurels of just twists and turns. It's clever, it's smart, it's funny. Jack Quaid is delightfully kind of skeezy in this movie. You got great turns from Harvey Guillen as well, Lucas Gage, and just Rupert Friend. But the key to this movie, and I think the thing that really elevates it and makes it special, is Sophie Thatcher. She has really become one of my new favorite actresses. I really look forward to seeing her on screen in movies now. Between this and Yellow Jackets, I really think, and her Heretic, I just think that she really has something. She has that sort of natural charisma and acting ability that you sort of need in a movie star that is going to have like staying power, and I really think she has it. And she's delightful in this movie. She's sexy, she's funny, she's scary when she needs to be, she's sympathetic when she needs to be. She's the whole package. She is this movie. That being Sophie Thatcher. But at the same time, this movie also, and its director Drew Hancock also, are clever in how they sort of play with the rom-com tropes, science fiction tropes, in the story of this domestic bliss that is not so blissful, between a man and his favorite machine, if you will, who looks an awful lot like a lady. And yeah, wonderful. So yeah, Companion, my number 19. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It's a winner. Number 18 is a return to form from a great film artist that it will not be everybody's cup of tea, but if you're on its wavelength, such as myself, you will be. And that filmmaker is Adam Agoyan, and that film is Seven Veils. This is a really, really thoughtful psychological drama. Amanda Seyfried is terrific as this woman trying to put on this production of Salome, the opera, and sort of seeing parallels to her own life. She kind of goes back into her own past, dealing with child abuse and sexual abuse, and is sort of reckoning with all of that, and is sort of seeing the parallels between what's going on in the opera and her own life. And as she keeps saying throughout the film, you asked me to make personal, and I am. And so you're seeing kind of how her life, and you see the people around her, this actor in her group who maybe or maybe not a predator, and this makeup artist who is sort of also reckoning with her own struggles with workplace harassment and abuse and stuff like that. And the sort of parallels between somebody who's a survivor but who's sort of, suppressed all of it, trying to sort of hide from the pain of it. And it's full of irony, it's full of dark, some elements of dark humor, but very, very, very appropriately placed dark humor, and real artistry. And Amanda Seyfried is terrific. She delivers one of her best performances here. It's definitely worth seeking out for. It played surprisingly in a lot of theaters in the U.S., considering that it played at my local, which doesn't have it very often. But yeah, Seven Veils, Adam Agoyan's latest. I really dug it. It's my number 18. Number 17 is a movie that I loved, that scared the shit out of me, and I'll probably never watch again. I said it when I reviewed Beau is Afraid. I said this about Ari Aster. Now I'm going to say it about the filmmaking team known as Raka Raka, Danny and Michael Philippou. I am really glad you are using your passion to make art like this because otherwise, I'm pretty sure you'd be axe murderers. And that piece of art is my number 17. Bring Her Back. This is, oh man, let's get into this movie. This is one of the most fucked up horror films I think I've ever seen in my entire life. Not so much because of the violence itself, because I've seen movies that are way more grisly than this, but because of just how bleak that violence is. This is a movie that is paced and done in such a way where the thing I appreciate and also I'm terrified of about the Raka Raka Boys is that they are true Australian horror auteurs in the Wolf Creek tradition of like, nobody's safe. Everybody will die if we want it to. That includes kids. And this movie is truly horrifying. It's a movie about grief and maternal grief taken to the darkest possible degree. Sally Hawkins is terrific. She gives an amazingly crazed lead performance. All the cast is terrific, quite frankly. My real standout, however, is one that nobody's talking about, which is a young actor named Billy Barrett, who plays the older brother and one of the lead children here, who is sort of in this sort of battle of wits with Hawkins over custody of his younger sister. And he is wonderful. He is truly incredible, playing this young man who has deep regrets in his past and is really trying to be there for his sister and is trying to sort of make it okay for her in the wake of a horrible tragedy that he can't bring himself to feel as much as she has because of the different relationship he had with that person. Again, child abuse. And it's just such a powerful movie where the horror comes from a place of realness, which I think makes it feel a good chunk of this movie on its face could possibly happen. And I think that is what makes it so frightening. Yes, there's a little bit of a supernatural element, but unlike Talk to Me, it's not as pronounced whether or not it really was supernatural or not. And so you feel like a lot of this could just be psychosis. And it makes this movie much more chilling than you would have expected it to be. And yeah, Bring Her Back. Great movie. We'll probably never watch it again. But for the time I saw it, I saw it, almost a month ago, over a month ago, and it has not left my mind. Not a single moment has left my mind. It is burned into my brain. It's pretty horrifying, especially a scene involving fruit on the end of a knife, and where that knife goes. Yeah, I don't want to say anymore. This movie's horrifying. It's unspeakable what ends up happening. Horrific, terrifying. But terrific if you can stomach it, and not everybody will be able to. But yeah, it's my number 17. Bring Her Back. Speaking of movies horror films that'll be hard to stomach for most people, I've seen this movie now twice. Once in the theaters and once at home. And it's a foreign film, everybody. Foreign language film. It's my number 16. A movie that is both beautiful and disgusting at the same time. And that movie is number 16, The Ugly Stepsister. Talk about a Cinderella story gone wrong. This film was directed by Amelie Christine Blichfeld. I hope I'm saying this name correctly. This is a Norwegian film. It is a Norwegian horror, dark comedy, fairy tale. Sort of the Cinderella story turned on its head. This movie actually got a wide release, thanks to IFC and Shudder. Thanks for that. I appreciate it. Seen this on the big screen in a theater by myself. Well, there was one other guy there. This movie is beautifully shot and yet grotesque, and the juxtaposition of that is often very funny. This is like the substance levels of this. This movie is also unrated, so it doesn't pull punches. This is a grotesque Cinderella story about this young woman who is sort of imagine if Cinderella was told from the point of view of the ugly stepsister, who isn't really even that ugly, but the idea is that society and its treatment of women at the time and still now causes her to literally destroy herself physically and mentally, and especially physically, until she becomes the ugly stepsister we know. Really horrifying, really dark, really messed up, and go see it, but don't maybe eat before and you will be seeing that food again if you do. Painfully. Number 16, The Ugly Stepsister. God help me, thumbs up. Check it out. Yeah. Number 15 is a concert film. Yeah, don't see those very often on here. Number 15, but it's a concert film that has deep emotional resonance. And that would be my number 15. Hans Zimmer and Friends, Diamond in the Desert. This is directed by Paul Dugdale, and this is a nearly 3-hour-long concert film. Played for 2 days in theaters, and it is Hans Zimmer, the great composer, performing on tour, on stage. His great film compositions and his not so great film compositions. Dark Phoenix, everyone. And weirdly enough, we have Pharrell Williams to thank for this. Yeah, believe it or not, as much as we clown on the score for Amazing Spider-Man 2, without it, we wouldn't have this film. So on some level, I want to thank it. This is a terrific concert film that also really gets into, in detail, the philosophy of Hans Zimmer. In between the performance footage, we see him sitting down with this sort of black and white interviews with various people he's worked with, Timothée Chalamet, Pharrell Williams, among others, and just sort of getting into the philosophy of what film is to him and how he got into it and just how much the events in his life meant to him and sort of fed into his art. And this is not some fluffy point the camera and shoot concert film. This is an in-depth, full documentary with really great filmmaking, exhilarating concert footage, amazing interviews, full of insight and real depth. And Hans Zimmer is delightful. He's funny. He has a wry sense of humor. And when he gets on stage with his band and they just do Pirates of the Caribbean and all these great scores, Dune, it's just, seeing that in a theater, I saw it in Dolby Atmos, it was life-changing. And it's the kind of film where it works as a film in a way that concert films rarely do. And it's terrific. My number 15, it's one of the best theater experiences I've had all year. Number 15, Hans Zimmer and Friends, Diamond in the Desert. Check it out. Number 14 is the single best straight-up comedy of the year, and probably of all the films on this list, the one, similar to how I mentioned Hundreds of Beavers last year, will be the one that I will wear out whatever physical media copy I have of it eventually, and I will watch it so many times that people will ask me if I'm okay. And due to recent events in my life, it seems almost kind of too realistic to be funny, but yet I still laughed my ass off both times I've seen it. My number 14, Friendship. This is, I love this movie. I loved this movie. Friendship is directed by Andrew D. Young, and it is an A24 comedy. It stars Tim Robinson and Paul Rudd, and it is basically, it's also produced by Tim Robinson. This movie is basically, I Think You Should Leave with Tim Robinson, the movie. It basically is like one of those skits taken to feature length, and it somehow makes it work. This is a comedy that is dark humored, it's absurd humored, and it's one of those films almost like Hot Rod, where you just kind of sit there watching it and like you kind of at a certain point realize there's no version of this movie that exists in a real world entirely that I recognize. There's something surreal and absurdist about it. And then once you realize that, you can kind of just go with the madness of this movie. And it is hilarious. It's also cringe-inducing and deeply uncomfortable, but hilarious at the same time. There is a drug trip scene that I think is maybe hands down the funniest I've ever seen in a movie. And I can't dare go into more details than that, but the build-up to it is funny, and the payoff is even funnier. Tim Robinson is terrific. There's little details in the margins of this movie that are just hilarious and really, 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 really inspired and really, really weird. Paul Rudd gets to play an asshole in this, finally. It's been a while since we got to see him in kind of prime, not likable mode. It's great, with a little bit of the Brian Fantana mustache going there. I truly love this movie. Friendship is my number 14. It's one of the best comedies of the decade so far. Yes, I said it. It's hilarious. Also, the Connor O'Malley scene is also one of the single funniest scenes I've ever seen in my life. Where just his little monologue, is his little like insulting little rant against Tim Robinson is just hilarious. Connor O'Malley also in his own right. If you haven't seen Rap World yet, that's also a freaking hilarious movie. But yeah, some people will not love this as much as I did. But yeah, number 14, Friendship. I loved this movie. I've been quoting this movie. I'm not afraid of you. I'm a fan today. Yeah, I adored this movie. Number 14, Friendship. Number 13. Speaking of Steven Soderbergh, his next film is upon us. He did this one before Black Bag, a whole month before, a whole month before, because I think this was in February, was it? No, it was in March. Okay, so a month and a half before, 2 months before, who gives a shit? Same director, same writer. However, it did premiere at Sundance last year, but it is now playing this year. It opened wide this year, so it counts. That movie is Presence. This is a horror. Is it though? No, it's not really horror. It's a family drama with supernatural elements. I'll say that. With some darker horror-ish edges to it. It is a very unique ghost story told from a very unique point of view, that being the presence in the house. This movie came out in January. It was marketed like a horror film, and I think a lot of people didn't like it because they didn't know what to make of it. This is an experimental drama. It is shot from the point of view of the ghost. It is all done kind of one continuous point of view shot, in point of view style, with the very low grade camera work. If you don't like that style, you're not going to like this movie. But if you're someone like me who really does and really admires the hustle here, Presence is an experiment, and like any experiment, it either works for you or it doesn't. I was moved by this movie. I was startled by this movie. And then in the last 10 minutes, I was gutted by this movie. The ending of this movie is one of the more devastating endings of any film this year. Number 13, Presence by Steven Soderbergh. Go check it out. Soderbergh had 2 really terrific movies this year, early in the year. Black Bag and Presence. They're both terrific. Go check them out. It's my number 13. Number 12. You know, you can give a lot of credit to a movie when it not only makes you cry, but makes you weep. And that's the case with my number 12. A movie that, yes, is made from familiar elements, but does it really, really, really well. My number 12, The Friend. This is directed by Scott McGehee and David Siegel, who previously did films like The Deep End and Montana Story. Now, this is their latest film. It's based on a true story of sorts. Naomi Watts plays sort of a writer who is... her friend, played by Bill Murray, dies, takes his own life, and leaves her with his beloved Great Dane dog. And as the father of a Great Dane myself, little girl Great Dane myself, I can relate to this movie. And that Great Dane is played by a terrific animal actor named Bing the dog, who gives one of the best performances of the year. And it's a dramedy, but despite the fact that it is being marketed like this dog that changed this woman's life movie, the movie's rated R. This movie is a movie for adults. It's a movie that deals with real shit. It deals with real issues. It deals with grief, and it deals with regret of the past, and it deals with trauma related to the trauma that people you care about put on you when they take their own lives or do things that are reckless and hurt themselves. And this is really a movie about that, with the idea of the dog sort of as a metaphor in a way too. And it's not as sappy as it sounds, because it has such an ear for human nature. These 2 filmmakers, Siegel and McGehee, they get it. They understand how the world works. They understand how people talk. And The Friend moved me so hard. It's my number 12. It's a wonderful movie. Go see The Friend. It's great. Next film is the last animated film, kind of. It's also a documentary. My number 11 was so close to the top 10. It was number 10 until very recently when I caught up on a film. I think you'll know what I'm talking about when you see it. But my number 11 is still terrific. And my number 11 film of 2025, best film so far of 2025, is Grand Theft Hamlet. This is a animated, machinima animated documentary shot entirely in Grand Theft Auto Online, and it is a very unique film, documentary film. It's directed by Sam Crane and Piney Grills, who are also featured in the film. There are a couple who in England, and it's the pandemic hits and the COVID pandemic, and they are Shakespeare theater Shakespeare theater actors who decide we can't put on a production of Hamlet in a physical theater. Why don't we do it in Grand Theft Auto Online? And we will audition people in the game, and if while we're rehearsing, somebody comes up and tries to rob somebody and shoot somebody in the game, well, we'll just retaliate and then go back to one. And that's basically this movie. It's entirely, you never see a live action figure in the whole film. It is all in Grand Theft Auto, and it is, despite the seeming gimmick of the premise and the idea, this movie has a lot of thoughtful things to say about art, and it has a lot of thoughtful things to say about how far artists will go to make said art. It's quirky, it's funny, and it's also inspiring. You really do kind of want to see this show go on, if you will. So yeah, number 11, and it's also just the sight of people as Los Santos residents reciting, to be or not to be. And so, like, it's just funny. That's just inherently funny. And yeah, number 11, Grand Theft Hamlet. It was in select theaters. It is now streaming on Mubi. I highly recommend checking that out. And also, if you don't have a Mubi subscription, I'm not sponsored by Mubi, but I do recommend signing up. It's terrific, especially if you love movies as much as I do, because they have some great shit on there. But anyway, yeah, number 11, Grand Theft Hamlet. Number 10 is a movie from early in the year that I caught up with very recently. And again, is it made from some familiar elements? Yes. I don't care. This movie was a warm hug. My number 10, The Ballad of Wallace Island. This movie is wonderful. A lot of feel-good movies this year on my list, and there's a reason for that. We really need it right now. The world, especially here in this country, has kind of sucked. And, well, not just here in this country, in a lot of places, has sucked. It's here. Ballad of Wallace Island is a balm for humanity. It's a movie that is genuinely warm and funny. And also, this is the other thing that's key. For a movie about a folk singer, the original folk songs in the movie are great. And you actually want to listen to them as songs in and of themselves once the movie's over. This film was directed by James Griffiths, as based on a short film. And is written by the film stars, who are these two gentlemen named Tom Basden and Tim Key. I don't know much about Tom Basden, but I do know Tim Key had a small supporting role in another film on this list, Mickey 17. Tim Key in particular is a big teddy bear of just wonderful delight in this movie. And Carey Mulligan, also quite good. And it does a really amazing job. And again, despite its familiarity, there is a subtle element of human nature here. The idea that, like, okay, you're listening to music and you see the impact the music has on the characters. It's not just, oh, gee, that song is nice or anything. You see on Tim Key's face what he's taking in from the singing in the film. And it's wonderful. Yeah, my number 10, The Ballad of Wallace Island. Go check it out. It's on Peacock now. It's all still in some theaters, I think. Especially outside of the US. I think in the UK it's just opened like a week ago. So yeah, go check out The Ballad of Wallace Island. It's wonderful. It's my number 10. Number 9 is a movie that, again, was missed by a lot of people, but in this case, I do understand why. This movie has a bit of an elephant in the room. I'm just going to acknowledge it right now. Our next movie stars somebody who very likely is a huge piece of shit. All evidence seems to support this theory, and a really scary one as well, piece of shit. And I don't want to harp on this too much because I want to focus on the film, but I have to give this man credit. He gave a terrific performance, which is given by somebody who, by all accounts, is not a very good person. So I just want to make this clear right now. my endorsing of this movie and of his performance is not an endorsement of him or an idea that he should continue being in the public eye, because I don't think he should. I think you know where I'm going with this. My number 9 film, Magazine Dreams. The person in question is Jonathan Majors, who I think delivers an Oscar-worthy performance. This is a terrific movie. It's also, unlike A Ballad of Wallace Island, deeply, deeply bleak. And it will not be for all tastes. It is hard to watch. It is drama. It is almost Requiem for a Dream-esque, and maybe not, just slightly less traumatic than that in its handling of addiction, addictive personality, and mental illness, and toxic masculinity. And it's just... And Jonathan Majors, the thing that makes his performance so good here is that because of what happened in real life, it's hard not to notice the parallels here in his portrait of an angry man desperate for connection and just trying to live his life vicariously through his obsession with bodybuilding. And there's no way out for him. He's his own worst enemy. And he's terrific as that character. Too bad about everything else in the real world. But in the context of this movie, absolutely, objectively speaking, this is one of the best films of the year, and it's one of the best performances of the last few years for someone who doesn't deserve to win any awards for it, unfortunately. Number 9, Magazine Dreams. I also should point out, it is directed by a filmmaker named Elijah Bynum. Bynum. Terrific work. Number 9, Magazine Dreams. Number 8 is one of 2 films that involves one of the directors and co-writers of this. One of the also wrote another film that's coming up on this list. There's your hint. I think you'll know it when I say it. Number 8 is a film. Yes, is there more deeply character-based movies than this? Deep probings of character development in this? Yes. I don't care. This movie gave me the shakes and the quivers and made me feel like I was in danger in a good way. Number 8, Warfare. Warfare. This is directed by Alex Garland and Ray Mendoza. It is, of course, the latest film from Garland, who is a quite prolific and great filmmaker. And Ray Mendoza, this is his first feature film ever. And it is loosely based on his own experiences. His surrogate, played by Defero Wunata, I believe is his name, is named Ray in the film. And so this is basically the war in sort of the Middle East from the perspective of, in 2006, from the perspective of memories of people who actually served there. So it's all done in this very visceral... You really don't know anybody, really. It's all the experience. You're sort of seeing it through the eyes of... You're put in the boots. 1 second. I have a fan. You're kind of put in the boots of these men and sort of seeing how this incident, this single moment of warfare that happens... Sorry. Excuse me. Come on, you. Okay. This moment of warfare that happens, sort of, he does basically... I think the thing that's the miracle about Warfare is that Alex Garland and Ray Mendoza kind of make an anti-war film by removing war of all its sensationalism. When people bleed in this movie, they bleed. And when the people around them see it, they're scared. And you are too. This movie puts you in real jeopardy with these men for 90 minutes. Which is blessedly brief, but man does not feel brief. Because you are just... I haven't felt that much anxiety in a movie in a long time. This movie is just powerful in how it uses basically an extended combat sequence. Basically, that's what this movie is. While still having something meaningful to say about warfare and about what these men went through. And while draining it of all jingoism and all fascist elements that you would expect from a lot of lesser war films. This film is just, you're there, you don't have time to have a point of view. It's like Civil War, the last terrific Alex Garland film from last year, where you just, You don't have time to have a point of view. You're in the shit, and it's just you have to do what you have to do to survive, and it's very stressful. And this movie puts you there, and it's unforgettable. My number 8, Warfare, by Alex Garland and Raymond Mendoza. Definitely check it out if you haven't seen it yet. Number 7 was the last film I saw at a movie theater I loved before it closed. R.I.P. Plaza Frontenac in St. Louis. We will never forget you and your contributions to art house cinema in our town. Bless you. And I picked a good one to go out on. One of the best films of the year, in fact. And that is number 7, Hard Truths. This is directed by Mike Leigh. This is his latest sort of probing, again, of the human condition. A lot of that this year. And it's also not an uplifting film, really. But it's terrific. It is the story of an older English woman, played by Marianne Jean-Baptiste, who is terrific. And it's sort of about her. She's angry at the world. She's angry at her family. She's angry at society. And sometimes in a funny way. Like, her observations do cut and are genuinely really funny. There's one bit she does about a baby with pockets that's legendary almost at this point. But she's angry, and we see the effect it has on the people she loves, and also the effect it has on her, that, like, this anger at the world, this inexplicable rage, and this sort of isolation is kind of, she brought onto herself in a strange way, and we sort of see her wrestling with that realization. We also see it juxtaposed with her sister, who is played by an actress named Michelle Austin. Chantel is her sister. Who is the exact opposite of Patsy, the lead character in this film. She's bright and sunny. She's a hairdresser, and she sort of is very homey, and she makes everybody feel happy. And she has a wonderful relationship with her 2 daughters, whereas Patsy has a really bad relationship with her husband and her son, who is almost selectively mute. He's so quiet and sort of introverted, and we sort of see how this family is impacted by the attitude that she has toward the world, and it's just powerful. It's such a powerful film. But we also understand Patsy. She makes, even when we are furious at Patsy, like everyone around her is, we understand her, and it's because of Marianne Jean-Baptiste's terrific performance. We understand who this woman is, what she is going through, and because of that, we can care about her, even when we're a little bit exasperated with her. And this is a terrific film. It's one of the best films of the year. It's one of Mike Leigh's best films. I think he's a great filmmaker. It's one of his best works. Number 7, Hard Truths by Mike Leigh. Terrific film. Number 6. 3 words. Boots, boots, boots. 28 years later. Okay. Now, before you jump down my throat, like, oh, what about that ending? The ending was as brilliant as everything else. Everybody needs to shut the fuck up. Okay. Don't talk. This is my time. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Yeah, this is directed by Danny Boyle. This is the 3rd in the 28 blank later series, and this is great. This is a Lego sequel that sort of picks up on what humanity's become in the wake of the Rage virus, and we sort of see this young boy, played brilliantly by Alfie Williams, this relative newcomer young actor, wrestle with his relationship with his parents, and sort of grow at that moment when you grow up and realize your parents are not perfect and are sometimes also deeply imperfect, but on a worldwide scale, with like the fate, also the nature of mankind, sort of, and its destruction coming into play here. This movie's tense, it's creepy, it's funny at times, it's genuinely moving at times. It is what you want a big studio film to be, and rarely is. And there's another film coming up on this list that also is great with this, a movie with a lot of money behind it and a brilliant artist behind it, putting something together that is truly a shock to the system and is what movies should always be, especially big ones that feel like they are a relic of a type of movie that just doesn't really exist anymore outside of the indie scene. And so, yeah, number 6, 28 years later, and it's still in theaters, so go see it. It's terrific. It's my number 6. All right, guys, I think what we're going to do tonight is we are going to maybe do the worst either tomorrow or when I get back because I'm starting to get kind of exhausted. So we're going to finish today's list and we're probably going to do the worst another time. So I apologize. We're not going to probably be able to do all of this tonight because we're kind of going over schedule already. But we're going to do the top 5. We're going to finish this out and then we'll say so long for this evening. Yeah. All right. Just wanted to make a little stopgap there. Also, before we get to the top 5, I just want to give a shout out to a few movies that have not come out yet, that I've seen but are not released to the public yet, and therefore they would be on this list if they were. And those are A Little Prayer, which opens on August 29th of this year. I saw it 2 years ago at Sundance. I plan to rewatch it again, hopefully. Great movie with David Strathairn and Jane Levy. Really great film. Also, Twinless, a really great film directed by James Sweeney, also starring Sweeney and Dylan O'Brien. Really great, very dark dramedy that is terrific. It opens wide, I believe, on September 5th. And then also, finally, the documentary Predators, which is about the sort of the To Catch a Predator television show and sort of the after effects of it. One of the most chilling documentaries I've ever seen. MTV Documentary Films has acquired it. It will be opening, I believe, on September 19th this year. So, yeah, look out for those. We'll talk about those further when we get closer to it. But, yeah, those would totally be on this list if they had come out already outside of festivals, but they have not. All right. That being said, moving on to number 5. Speaking of people who understand human nature and who have an ear for how human beings talk, director Celine Song follows up her terrific past lives with another excellent romance film that is not the cheesy rom-com that the marketing would have you believe. It's something deeper and much more thoughtful. That is Materialists. This movie is beautiful. It's moving, it's funny, it's real, it's dark when it needs to be, it's light when it needs to be. It's a feel-good movie that also has real meat to it and real, again, darkness to it. It's great, well acted. Dakota Johnson is great. Pedro Pascal is great. Nice little drop-ins. The standouts, however, I must say, are Chris Evans, who I think has not been this good since Gifted, and maybe even ever. I mean, this is like a career best work for him in this film. And then also, there's another actress who I wanted to give a shout out to who has a role that you think is small, and it turns out it's not so small. And she's wonderful, and that's an actress named Zoe Winters, who is absolutely terrific in this movie and is not at all what you think she's going to be at first. And yeah, I love this movie. This has such meaningful things to say about love and materialism and sort of wealth versus modest happiness, and I just love this movie. I think this is a wonderful, wonderful movie. It's not just some throwaway chick flick like the trailers suggest. There's something real here, and it's wonderful. Number 5, Materialist, by Celine Song. Number 4, now we're getting into the really nitty-gritty stuff, is the best documentary of the year. It's one of the best documentaries I've ever seen. There, I said it. Number 4 is Deaf President Now. This is a terrific documentary. It's streaming now on Apple TV+. It was also in select theaters for a brief time. And it tells the story of this all-deaf school, university, that the members had never had any people who are deaf or hard of hearing on its board. And not a single president of like the main board that was deaf or hard of hearing in its history. And it was basically founded sort of by Abraham Lincoln. And so the idea was that in the 80s, I believe, 1988, the students decided to rally and say, no more deaf president now. We're gonna make this happen and change the world. And they sort of made things happen. This movie is one of those great documentaries because it has characters, heroes, villains, and plot turns in this movie that if it wasn't a documentary, if it was a fiction film, you wouldn't believe it. Like, it's one of those films where it's like really... There's a moment where the ostensible villain of this film, this sort of hoity-toity Nancy Reagan-looking woman who sort of runs this organization says something to the extent of, deaf people are incapable of taking care of themselves, much less running government, something to that extent. And you're just like, Jesus Christ, woman, that's horrible. Yeah, this is just this is an important film. It's powerful, and everyone should see it. It should be shown in schools. It's directed by Davis Guggenheim, the great Davis Guggenheim, and Niley, maybe, DeMarco. A great documentary, Deaf President Now. It's absolutely terrific. It's my number 4. Number 3 is a movie that's going to be on number 1 for a lot of people, but this is my list, and it's number 3. But the fact that it's number 3 shows how good number 2 and number 1 are, to me, at least. I love this film. I've seen it now twice, and it continues to resonate each time I watch it. And it's a big budget, major movie, surprisingly enough. Number 3, Sinners. I love this movie. It's directed by Ryan Coogler. This is, I know, like, oh, he's talking about Sinners. He's going to praise Sinners. He must be like the 17th person I've heard on one of these lists do it. Yeah, you're going to hear it again because, god damn it, this movie's fantastic. This movie is so thoughtful, so scary, funny, moving. The music is great. It has a single sequence in it that, to me and to most people, will be one of the key sequences of this decade in movies. It is that good. This is the oneer. If you know what I'm talking about, the one shot where sort of time folds in on itself and we sort of see various, throughout history, including history that's past the history of the main movie, with this music. Damn. Ryan Coogler, I think this is his best film. Yeah, I think it's better than even Fruitvale Station or Black Panther, or Creed. It's that good. He really has found this story, and they don't need to make a sequel. Don't bother. Also, it is a movie where stay to the very end of the credits. The ending of this movie really is not until the credits start, and it is important. It is the scene that I think is the perfect bow on this present, and really delivers that final blow of this is what this film was, and it just floors you. I love Sinners. This is one of the best films of the year, and one of the best films of the decade so far. It's my number 3, Sinners by Ryan Coogler. And yeah, great movie. Number 2. Okay, my number 2, I don't want to hear anybody say, oh, but Granite came out last year. Granite came out last year. It started its limited run in January. It came out this year. God damn it. I'm not going to do this again. Number 2, I'm Still Here. First off, I've gotten more comments for this movie, I think, than I have any other movie, maybe outside of Bo Burnham Inside, and likes. Thank you to my newfound Brazilian viewers. Thank you. This is a Brazilian language film. It was nominated for Best Picture at this year's Oscars and Best International Feature. I believe it won Best International Feature, if I'm not mistaken. This is just a beautiful film about a real life hero. I mean, it's really this woman, played by Fernanda Torres in one of the best performances I've ever seen, quite frankly. Plays this woman who, in the heat of this politically charged, occupation and this violence, had to keep her family, what was left of it, together, and sort of, and made sure that they thrived, and she grew old wrestling with all of this and the sacrifice she had to make that happen. And this is just a beautiful film about Brazilian history and this real life person. And I love this movie. And I'm Still Here is a beautiful, beautiful work of art. It's my number 2. It was my number 1 until somewhat recently, but it is, when I say number 2, I mean it is close to the top here. It is the Empathy Machine firing on all cylinders. I love this movie. So, now you may ask. Number 2, I'm Still Here. Now you may ask. Oh, and it's by, sorry, my bad. I'm Still Here, directed by Walter Salles. Fantastic. Number 1, you may be asking me, Grant, what could be better to you, personally, than I'm Still Here? Well, or Sinners? Well, movies are all what you bring to it. And they're all also what you hope to get out of it. Yes, the film that is my number 1 is made by a filmmaker I admire. Yes, it has a cast I love. But there was something else to this movie. I felt like this movie came into my life when I needed it the most, in a way that I haven't really felt since my best of 2021 number one, 9 Days. There's just something about this movie that came in. It's like came into my life at just the right time, and it floored me. And it's a movie that has been kind of divisive. It hasn't made a lot of money at the box office, which is not, again, not a sign of quality. But it also, critics have been a little divided on it too, but I don't care. I love this movie, and it's my number one, and it is directed by a guy who, up to this point, had only worked in horror films. This is his first non-horror film. I think you know where we're going with this. My number one is directed by Mike Flanagan. I think you guys know where I'm going with this. Number one, The Life of Chuck. I was so moved by this movie. I felt like I needed this movie. This is a movie that, yes, you could argue in a way has its heart on its sleeve, but it's okay. Because it's one of those movies that truly is about what it means to be alive and what it means, the effect that you have on the world around you and the people who love you and everybody in between. And the idea that, like, we all are multitudes. We all have an inner life. And yes, that could come off as real pretentious. But Mike Flanagan is so good at is such a humanist and is so good at this kind of thing. He just makes you believe it. He's so true in how he puts everything together. There's a monologue about the midpoint, right around, that kind of closes out the second chapter in reverse order. This movie is done reverse chronology. It's 3 chapters, 3, 2, 1, backwards. And the end of the second chapter, there's a monologue that the narrator, voiced by Nick Offerman, has about an event that the titular Chuck has when he's walking home and he just dances in the street, and the impact that that moment had on his life as his life became darker and sadder. Where I didn't just cry, I had this look of like, somebody really needed to hear that monologue today and it saved their life. Like, it was that level of like good emotional writing. Mia Sara is terrific. Also, it's nice seeing her again from Ferris Bueller. Yes, that Mia Sara. The whole cast is terrific. I actually think the standout here, and has not been this great in a long, long time, and he's terrific, but I mean, he's never gotten a chance to act this much in a while, is Mark Hamill, who is absolutely wonderful as Chuck's grandfather, who is a very complicated man, who is, Mark Hamill does the complexity very, very, very well. The young actors who play Chuck are also quite good, especially I want to point out his name. He's dynamite, this young actor. Tom Hiddleston plays him very briefly in the middle of the film. Benjamin Pajak, I believe that's how you pronounce his name. Terrific. You got Chiwetel Ejiofor here, Karen Gillan, Annalise Basso. Just a great cast of people. Yes, you got all the regulars too. You got from Flanagan Land. You got Kate Siegel in there for a bit. Carl Lumley in there for a bit. It's just great, and it's just one of those films where it's the kind of film that makes you happy that movies exist. And I think that's what I think makes it my best film so far this year, is I just think that I felt empathy, deep empathy, the empathy machine working on all cylinders, and I'm still here. Life of Chuck, I walked out of being grateful that film as an art form existed. An art form that I love and that I will always love for the rest of my life. It's too late now. I've already, I've loved it from the start. I'm always going to love it. And I think that this movie was the personification of what I look for in film and what I want it to do for me. And that's why it's my number one, The Life of Chuck by Mike Flanagan. It may not be yours. It's mine. I find it that this year it is going to be hard to top Life of Chuck as my favorite film of the year, just because it just really affected me. It really had this powerful effect on me that I can't let go of. And it was haunting. I mean, there's just something about it. I adored this movie. I wanted to hold this movie close, as if it was gonna fly away. It was one of those kind of movies. I love this movie. So yeah, Life of Chuck is my best film so far this year. Probably gonna be my best film of the year. I love this movie, and Mike Flanagan, you're brilliant. Never stop doing what you do. You keep continuing to find new ways to get my heart, and yeah, love your work, and I love this film. It's my number one film of the year, Life of Chuck. All right, we will be back very soon for the worst films of 2025 so far. In the meantime, like, subscribe, do all the things, and tell me what's some of your favorite films so far this year. I want to know. Let me know down below, and love you guys. Take care, and yeah, love you. Take care. See you soon. Bye.